in a game where defense is really non-existent because of the latest patch. I'm going to be breaking down really two good players. You're going to go to Mills, and we've got Fancy 214, tip your cap, and we're going to be talking about what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball. Now, obviously, this game is going to be relatively high scoring, but it is always good to look at what are the best players in the world doing. Fancy obviously had the best Madden season we have ever seen in Madden 25, and here he is back in Madden 26. Already has one live event on his resume for this year. Wasn't able to get it done there, but he did make the live. And then Mills. Mills is someone that streams pretty much every single day. Been a top tier Madden player for a really long time, but also known as someone that consistently has a pretty good defense. And so we're going to be taking a look at what he's doing. And this actually turned out to be one of the better games of the weekend for the MCS most feared ladders. And so there's a lot to learn from both of these guys. We're going to start out with the base formation for Mills offensively and the base defensive formation for Fancy. Again, this is played on the latest patch, and this patch did a lot. It did a lot to supposedly help defense, but in ways it actually somehow made defense worse, which is crazy. But that being said, Mills is going to be in this bunch tight end. He has a threat here of an RPO that is actually really good, especially to the short side. He also has this little flat zig play, super money play here. Fancy is, I believe, let's take a look at how he actually comes out here. He's going to be in between single mug, double mug. We'll see what he actually ends up being in here. He might be a nickel wide too. Yeah, so you see here, show blitz look. This show blitz look pretty much is the nickel wide, where he is going to be able to send one of these linebackers in the D line. He'll also be able to stunt out of this, and he has a base rush that he can go to. So we'll see what he ends up going to here with real quick. One little quick tip I wanted to tell you about that I forgot to mention is, as I said in the beginning, Mills has a bubble screen. Watch what Fancy does with the safety. As you notice here, he clicks on the safety. He's going to move him to the outside. Now, the purpose for this is he wants this safety, as you see, he is just outside. He's just outside of the slot corner. What that does is it changes the blocking assignment on the RPO, and it makes it easier to stop. So as you see here, Mills is going to flip from short side to wide side, which then, as you see, Fancy's going to take that safety and he's going to move him out so that he can play the bubble screen. And then he takes this safety and he moves him to the middle to be able to play. So it's one little thing that he's doing defensively that actually makes a significant difference. Another thing that he's going to do that's actually cool that he did on the first play is he's going to have a Tom stunt where he's going to loop this defensive tackle through this gap. Doesn't always come in, of course, but it is a way to kind of get a loop type of defense. And first play of the game, you see Fancy's defense gets actually shredded. Slot fade here from the slot receiver. Fancy switch sticks to the corner, right? And he gets a little over aggressive with the switch stick, and Mills is just going to take advantage of that and throw over the top. Fancy, one of the main reasons we're looking at this tape, one of the main reasons I was interested in watching this game, it's one of the only games that you saw that was recorded from MCS Ladder Weekend where Fancy was playing. This also ends up being a really good game. And Fancy is widely considered to have the best switch stick in Madden, which is really what led him to have such a good year last year. And so looking for little tricks and tips through his gameplay here today that we're going to be taking a look at. But right there, his switch stick actually ended up costing him, got a little bit over aggressive with that switch stick, and Mills was able to take advantage of that. Now, Fancy is going to get the ball offensively, and Fancy is going to be running what I believe is the best offense in the game. I think bunch tight end could make a strong case that Vikings bunch tight end is a top 5 offense in this year's game. If you just look at how it can do what it can do. The other thing that's really interesting to me about this game is Mills is running the defense that I personally think might be the best defense in the game right now, and that is the 4-3 even 6-1. He is known as the father of 4-3 even 6-1, and so wanted to kind of take a look at what he's doing out of this. Can't see the coach adjustments, but one of the things, I mean, you can kind of see it a little bit here, but one of the things I wanted to point out is he has auto flip off, and he flips it. See right there, see he flips the play. He flips the play at the play call screen, and then Fancy going to be in bunch X nasty. Little show blitz look here from Mills. But the biggest thing here is the flips. As you see here, just like Mills, Fancy's going to be flipping his play pretty much every play here. And he is in that bunch X nasty. And there you see pressure on the first play. This is why I think 4-3, even 6-1 could be the best defense in the game right now. I actually have a full mini scheme of this defense in our school community, about 40-minute breakdown, where I just completely break down everything that you can do out of it from a pressure perspective. And I really do think this could be something that this defense, because of this linebackers alignment, they don't get chipped as much as other as like defensive ends do in double mug. They don't get chipped. So I think it's a big deal. But anyways, you're going to see here, let me just show you how many people Mills chooses to send. He sends a slant, basically slants the line probably to the right. That's not how I would run the blitz, but he does that. Slants 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 on 5, but he's able to get clean linebacker pressure. And look how fast that pressure gets in. Fields' release is a little slow, and that running back, while being wide open, he's not able to throw it, and you get pressure in your face. This is what makes a good defense in Madden every single year, having the ability to force pass protection, super important. So anyway, as you see here, he's going to be flipping that 4-3 even, 6-1. He's not using any shells down here, so that's also important. But there's some other little things that he's going to be doing out of this defense. One of them is he's going to be stunting out of this as well. This just gives you a lot of versatility, in my opinion. Also, the hover over the linebackers kind of his hover is over here. Normally, you would hover here. Mills going to hover over the running back. He can also shoot the run really easily within this defense. I just feel like this defense does afford you a lot, especially if you can adjust. That's the quick question, because the audible that kills 6-1 is when Fancy comes out short side bunch, and then he audibles to wide side, trips tight end, where you would have like a tight end here, running back here. That is an audible to look for as far as what could kill him. So anyway, here he goes to a five-man blitz that time, not able to get the pressure. Fancy able to get the ball out quick to the back. And I actually believe the best way to get pressure out of 6-1 is to actually pinch the defensive line. But we'll see what Mills ends up deciding. He's more shifting. He's really more isolating one side. See how he's consistently shifting to the running back side here? Kind of interesting. And he's going to send 5 again. That time didn't come in. That's the second time it did not come in at all. And he's going to switch stick up and be able to complete it. The catch in traffic is still crazy, even though they said they made them knock the ball out more. They still do not knock the ball out anywhere near enough, in my opinion. So this was the audible that I was talking about. So 4-3, even 6-1, really good against bunch, really good against any kind of compression formations, very good against compression formations. However, here's the audible that kills this defense right here. So you see Fancy audibles, 2 trips tight end down here in the red zone, or actually bunch tight end as well. And notice it flips all the man assignments. You get kind of misalignment. You don't have symmetry anymore. But Fancy's going to go for a run and not have any success. One of the reasons I like 6-1, though, is 6-1 is really, really good in the red zone. It's been pretty much the meta red zone defense for the last 5 years, at least the last 4 years, but potentially even the last 5 years. Anyway, there you see scramble out of there with Fields, going to get upfield. You don't fumble in this game. That's another problem, another thing in favor of offense. You don't fumble, you don't drop balls unless you're on defense, and you drop picks. You know, just a lot of things about this game that are in favor of the offense. Here you see walks this guy down. There's a quarterback run, going to be able to blow that up. And now we have a 4th and goal. And that right there is exactly what 4-3, even 6-1 can do, man. It's a bend but don't break defense. It's going to give you some pressure, but also it can give you that where you're just able to force field goals there. Fancy missed a kick. Things got a little crazy. I don't know what just happened. I don't know if Bills even realized that. Fancy missed the kick, but Fancy missed the kick, which is crazy. But anyway, on to the next play. So really should be 7-3 here, but it's 7-0. Mills. Fancy's probably, like I said, in that nickel wide. Basing out of Overstorm Brave. And we'll see what he ends up going to here. Good switches. And that was just a switch stick cage right there. Fancy just able to guard everything on that play. You take a look here to the left side. He's got a little corner route. But these curl flat zones do such a good job of getting depth. And then he's able to basically just use You see the switch stick here does a good job. Fancy just does a really good job of switch sticking to defenders that really don't have anything going on and being able to take things away that way. Another thing is still switch stick to like 5 different guys on one play, which is another little thing that he does that I think is really effective. So some people switch stick like we're only going to switch stick once or twice. Not Fancy. He's going to switch stick multiple times. Go ahead and bring up a 3rd down and 11. There's a stemmed up curl route. Gotta love them. And there's that hook curl to defend that. And this is a big issue to me with defense. So what Fancy does here, this is a big problem. Like stemmed up curls, how do you stop him? He has a hook curl. He sets him right to the stick, so he's going to go right there. You see that he's going to literally be standing. He's standing right here, and Mills throws it anyway, and that is a completion. That is terrible for the game, and that should not be a thing. And you see Mills, wiping the face, realizing very fortunate that he's able to make that play. That has to be an interception or at least a knockout. That cannot ever in any world be a completion in a Madden game. Now, that's a really, 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 really bad completion. So a lot of like corner post drag combos from Mills, honestly. There's that post, lofted up, decides he would rather, he would not rather throw the touchdown here. He just kind of, I don't know what happens, but basically, I mean, this is a touchdown. Mills kind of poorly pass leads it and just lofted it up. And that was definitely a touchdown easily. But Mills just poor pass lead. Anywho, so again, you see in short side bunch comes out consistently, flips it down. Fancy's defense is messed up, and Mills should be quick hiking this. He is going to quick hike it. Throws a nice read over the middle to the post route with the user standing right in front of him, and that's going to bring up a 1st down and 10 on the 26. He's got the vision. Mills sharing that he has that vision, that pass leading vision. And so far, what we've seen from Fantasy, really nothing on defense. Shocking. Nothing real. No crazy pressure. What's interesting is the big thing that they really did, in my opinion, that was a crazy pass lead. The big thing that they did, in my opinion, that really significantly hurt defense was where they took the sheds and they really, really made them worse. Because what you used to be able to do before the patch is you could just send 4 and you could reliably get a shed. Now, you're not necessarily guaranteed a shed if you send 4, send 2, send 3. All of those got worse. And the problem is there's no real blitz. So there's really no real way to get consistent pressure on the quarterback. Real quick here, Mills does go to this bubble screen. So I want you to just look at this real quick with me. So you see how he goes to bubble screen. And here, Fancy actually switch sticks onto the safety and runs right to the bubble. And Mills makes a good read and almost breaks the tackle for a touchdown. But that was actually a really good defensive play by Fancy, able to just switch stick on the safety, take it away himself, force Mills to have to hand it off, which then was able to get gap shot because of the nickel wide alignment. You see, I mean, the fact that you can't run inside zone into this front is crazy. You would think you would be able to. Going to go to a quarterback power. And going to get in there with Justin Fields pretty easily. All right, so Mills has a 2-possession lead against Fancy. Fancy should have 3. This really should be 14-3, but Fancy missed the kick. And so now we'll see what Fancy's able to do. Kind of got himself in a hole early. And there goes Travis Hunter for a kick return for 6. Nice little play from Fancy there. Able to make the extra point. Not always guaranteed when Fancy's kicking, as we've seen in this game. And then we see Mills basically get the exact same kick return. Probably wouldn't advise kicking the ball to that side. I'd probably do the Henry kick where you kick it halfway in the middle, and I've yet to see Henry give up a kick return. So if you're looking for special teams kicks, I probably would not kick the ball to the left side like these two guys just did, both giving up huge returns. But Fancy was able to get 7. Mills got stopped at the 35, so he's actually going to have to play a little bit of offense here. And we finally see some pressure. Now, this is what makes nickel wide relevant right here. Watch this. So you notice how Fancy's user is slightly over here. Normally that user would actually be directly over the center. He's slightly to the left side. Running backs here. Mills is going to block his running back. So take a look at how this pressure works. He's going to engage his user, as you see here. He's going to send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then his user is a 6 rusher. What you see here is his user is engaged in the offensive line, and he actually D-pad switches off onto this slot corner. This is the big issue with this defense post patch is the blitz is still really good, but you cannot get off with your user. And so because you cannot get your user off of that block, it makes it a little bit more of a difficult to play good coverage behind the blitz. Right there ends up working out for Fancy. He's able to get a sack, get a loss of 12, and now put Mills in a position where he has to realize that blitz could be coming. More than likely, Fancy gonna go ahead and back off, play a little more coverage based here. And Mills can take this down to the end of the first quarter if he wants to. And there we see that was actually good pressure. This time he gets the interception. So let's take a look at what happens here and kind of break this down. So you see, again, we have that stemmed up curl from Mills. He loves that route. And we have our user here. Now you see here, he runs the Tom stunt again. So this guy engages, this guy's gonna loop around, and then you have these guys containing. So as you see here, that Tom causes just a little bit of a disengage that gets this pressure up here where Mills is feeling it, and he just makes a bad read. Fancy switch sticks to the corner, the hook curl rolls right back in here. R1 is begging to be a good completion for good yardage. Mills makes a bad read, and Fancy gets underneath of it, and he's able to get the interception. It's a big stop for Fancy, honestly. And it's actually a really cool little defensive play. It kind of highlights the Tom stunt being somewhat relevant post-patch, in my opinion, out of the nickel wide defense. So we'll see what Fancy's going to do here. Here he actually audibles to doubles flex, which is really surprising. Not a formation really see. Kind of some crazy stuff goes on the play, and Fancy's able to just scramble out of there. And that should be the end of the first quarter. We're going to get to that second quarter here. So as you see, bunch X now see into trips here. So you see how this guy goes all the way over here. Now this guy's in the middle of the field. He's completely misaligned over the tight end, and that linebacker really can't be made right. Some weird stuff going on with the camera. I don't know what Mills is doing there with his camera angle. But anyway. And I'll leave links to both of these guys' streams in the description below. You can check out, I'll leave a link to Fancy's site down low as well if you want to check out his stuff over at 818. Little slot fade corner, stemmed up in, switch stick pick from Mills. Actually, crazy play by Mills. So let's take a look at this defense here. So you see, again, this shift. So that he just consistently shifts like this over, and he gets this look right here. To me, this hasn't really been that great a pressure. As you see here, I mean, it even gets picked up here. But it is what it is. I guess it causes this little pocket drift, and you have a chance for the shed coming home here. But basically, Fancy goes slot fade, corner, stemmed up in route, and then a backside return route. So Fancy's reading man coverage. He's going to throw this in route, and Mills just basically reads it, right? He switch sticks on the guy. He lurks down. He snaps it. And honestly, just a great play from Mills to be able to get a stop there. Able to catch that pick, able to get out of there, break a tackle, break another, get out of there. And he's going to get all the way in there for 7 and regain that 2-possession lead. And so while this game has been relatively high scoring, right, for the first half, there's been stops. It's really been because of special teams, picks, things like that. But we've actually seen, several stops throughout this competitive game, which you really don't see a lot right now in the game. So just kind of a testimony to both of their defensive acumens and some of the things they're doing on both on their defensive sides of the ball. Take a look at how Fancy answers back here. 21-7, ball on the 35, middle of the field, and you're seeing this consistent. You see here again, you've got those 3 guys over that left side front. He's going to send 5 again. Mills has sent 5 pretty much every play as well. He's pretty consistent in sending 5. And the problem is Fancy it's been way too easy for Fancy to send 5 out, in my opinion. We'll see what he does here again, consistently shifting over this way. There's a shift, a pocket drift, and not able to beat the man coverage. They're able to get a KO. Got to bring up a 2nd and 10. And there it is again, a shift to the wide side. So that's just going to be consistent. Another thing that Fancy's doing, if you take a look at this guy right here, you see how this guy is in the tight end stance. That tells you that he is actually in the tight end slot package in the Bunch X Nasty, which will help kind of misalign nickel formations, right? So it's really helpful for attacking man coverage. Going to go to motion cross post and going to try to throw that crosser. Another KO for Mills, and that's going to put him in a 3rd and 10 situation. His KOs have really been helpful for him. Being able to consistently knock the ball out. Another thing is you see linebackers on the outside. You don't see safeties. These are linebackers. A little bit of a difference for Mills. And again, I just don't quite understand the blitz threat here. I don't feel like this really is a blitz threat. His blitz threat is not blitzing. But there you see there's a send 3, and that's good sheds. But decides he does want to cover BTJ. We'll take a look here. Motion cross post. We'll see what happens to the corner. Looks like Mills puts the corner in a flat. I don't know. Nope. The bumping. That right there, that's exactly why I hate running cover 0. Watch what happens. So you see this is manned up, and he has like a purple zone over here. So again, because he's going to send 3, right? So he has this guy in a purple zone. So he's in a purple, and then this guy's manned up. But this guy runs slowly back, and the purples really fly out this year. So what happens is you get this bump right here, just this bump right here. And then Mills, for some reason, switch sticks onto him, which I don't know why he did that, I guess to go guard this player. But just completely falls asleep at the wheel on a send 3. You can't give that up when you send 3 people. You cannot give up 1-play touchdowns when you send 3 people, in my opinion. That's really bad. Really, really bad defensive play there. But partially just because of the bumping that happens with a man coverage, and that's why cover 0 is. And you see like this kind of pattern. So take a look at this. So you see here, they kick it to the left side. He catches it. Now watch how Mills runs with his player. So you see here, he's here, and then he's going to go up, and then he's going to go to the right. That's the basic cut. If you can get 89 to block this guy, this cut would be there for you. So he's trying to kind of lure that in, and you see there's that cut right there. Not able to break the tackle, and a good special teams play. But if you ever get that, if people are kicking the ball to you like that, that's a way that you can kind of pop them with a decent way to kick return it. Same thing that really Fancy was doing on the other side of the ball as well. But anyway, ball in the 28, 3:53. We are entering a clock scenario. We'll see what Mills decides to do. He could realistically clock this out, and he honestly probably should, but we'll see what he ends up doing here. And that right there was a cage from Fancy. And the crazy part to me is he just caged him with cover 3 hard flat. Hard flat, yellow zone, hard flat, third. I mean, just basic cover 3, if you will. And you see, I mean, there's just nothing really there. Gets a nice shed. And that's going to bring up a 2nd and 17. Them tuning sheds down was really, really bad for this game. In a game where you don't have any blitz threat, having good sheds, I think, is fair. But there's just no blitz threat in this game. And the sheds are just not consistently good. So you see here 1, 2, 3, 4, send 4 plus user for Fancy. And again, notice he engages his user and he D-pad switches. He's not switching with his user, which is a significant hit to the nickel wide defense that you cannot get off the block as easily as you could in the previous patch of this game. Third down and 17. Kind of a got to have it down for Mills. You don't want to get stopped here. Needs something to make this a 4th down, and he decides he'd rather throw the ball to the wrong team. I don't know what he's actually throwing here. It got an inaccurate. So you see Fancy just running a send 4, right? There's that Tom stunt we talked about. And that Tom stunt does a good job kind of popping the pocket. Again, I think Mills is throwing the drag, but the drag gets bumped by the user, gets overthrown, and able to get a big stop. There is Travis Hunter making making a great play. All right, so Fancy able to get a stop. Now he's able to put himself in a really good position. Try to get 7 before half. So nice little smash return combination. Hits Travis Hunter over the middle. Starting to kind of get a rhythm against man coverage, what he's able to do consistently, what he's able to attack consistently. So really good, really good play. Going to be short side punch X nasty. Now you're starting to see Mills kind of widen out in this trips look. This is going to be the audible that you're going to start to see. This trips audible. But trips does the thing with trips is it doesn't necessarily do a great job of consistently popping man coverage. So that's another little factor that is at play here, of course. And going to be a 7-3 Mills. And this is another little thing that pops man coverage. You see Saquon able to get the touchdown. Fancy is going to go here to, I believe, yeah. So you see how he runs like a little like drag or slant in, and then he gets this really fast table route. This is a specific table route out of the play spacing switch. As you see, it's really good to pair with like a slant or a post or anything in breaking basically. This table route just cooks man coverage. As you see, he just gets that step on him and he's able to get into the end zone and be able to get 7 right before half. Honestly puts him in a good position because the way Mills has been playing offense, Fancy's gotten a couple stops this game. So this could be a real thing here. So again, he's going to go with his kickoff method, even though he gave up a kick return so far in this game. He's going to stick with it, and you're going to see here, boom, out to the outside, and he's going to give him the ball at the 40. Might as well just kick it out of the back of the end zone, in my opinion. All right, so Mills offensively, bunch tight end. Again, Mills, I believe, is in Minnesota playbook. He has the bubble. He has the cheat motion. He has all the plays from that Minnesota book. He's got that quick flat route. There's that nice throw to the tight end drag over the middle. Mills runs a lot of mesh. Mesh, one of the most underrated concepts, I feel like, in Madden. I specifically against zone because if you can hit those throwing lanes, you have a lot of little spots where you can actually hit against zone coverage. Going to take this down to the 2-minute warning. And we'll see what he does before half here. End of half scenario for Mills. Ideally wants to give the ball back to Fancy or score as time is expiring. But if he gives this ball back to Fancy, he wants to make sure he's taking his timeouts and he has little time. So you might see like a run play first down here. You see there's a little bubble screen and a little handoff just to get that clock moving. It wasn't really that much about the actual bubble screen itself. It was really more about let's get the clock moving. Let's get positive yards on first down. No bubble screen there. Good switch from Fancy. Good defense from Fancy. Able to blow that up with Kyle Hamilton and still switch stick to bubble. He switch sticks to bubble every time, pretty much from what I've seen. This is going to bring up a 3rd down and 10, and you're going to see a flip. This is a passing down. 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. This will be a timeout. Nope, he's going to snap it. Throws the whips play. He just throws a beam to the post route, but he's not able to get his feet down or not able to hold on to the ball. Threw it in a little bit of too much traffic there, and it's going to bring up a 4th down situation for Mills, and we'll see what Fancy ends up deciding to go with here defensively. Mills loves this mesh play, but I feel like 4th down and 10 might not be a great play call here. He's going to put the slot fade on the field, probably going to put a post. Yep, slot fade corner route, and he has the running back underneath, or Higgins. He's got T. Higgins in the backfield, little roster situation here. But take a look. So we have streak, slot fade, corner route. We have like a little crosser or post, and then we have Texas route. That Texas route does a really nice job beating man coverage in a key situation, and he's able to get a nice 4th down conversion. That's a huge conversion for him because he's already been able to take so much clock. And so now you should see a run here. Going to go back to that run game, hit the bubble screen. Fancy didn't get the switch out there. And now you're going to start to see the timeouts being taken, 2nd and 8. See what he does here. Flip, tight end post, stem it all the way down. See the pops, man coverage. Got a little return route there. Hits that tight end post. That's the hot routed tight end post. Stem it all the way down. When you stem routes all the way down, they do a little better job at beating man coverage in this year's game. And that's going to bring up a 1st down and goal situation from the 4-yard line. This might be the first red zone situation we've seen from Mills, but notice Fancy has 1 timeout. So he's going to run the ball on 1st down. That'll take Fancy's final timeout. I guess he's not going to run the ball on 1st down. He's just going to go for it. And he scores 7 here. To me, it's a little bit of a clock management mistake, but it's also great for him that he gets 7 here. But he goes with this little mesh route. This flat route from mesh is really good at beating man coverage quickly. As you see, it does. It beats that man coverage quick and able to get in the end zone. And I guess he just wanted to make sure he gets 7 because it's very unlikely that Fancy gets 7. Most likely that if he gets anything, it's going to be 3. I'll be honest. Even though offense is relatively easy in this year's game, when you don't have timeouts, it's actually really difficult because a lot of the best routes in this game are somewhere in the middle of the field. Like a stemmed up curl route, a crosser, a post, a return route. They're in the middle of the field. And so because of that, when you can't use the sidelines as your main primary deep threat, that's a significant challenge. So anyway, you see here, little cover 4 with curl flats. And going to get up there to Barkley and does a good job of being able to get a bounce, get a couple yards. But really for Fancy here, it's can I get 3 before half? That's the main thing that he's trying to accomplish within this. So he needs a chunk play here for sure. You're going to see Mills is going to send 3. 1, 2, 3. Goes with that send 3 there. And Fancy tries to fit it into a tight window. He's able to fit it into a tight window. And this is actually a realistic thing that he might actually be able to get 3 here. He needs approximately like 10 to 15 yards, probably 15 yards to get 3. We'll see what he ends up going to here. Got a little curl flat vert hook, 3 rec. Problem is Mills is stemming these curl flats up super deep. And so because of those stems, and as you see, they don't get out there well. And Fancy able to hit a nice completion. That's going to put the ball on the 41 with 9 seconds. You see Mills trying to get those curl flats out there. Mills also is from a strategic perspective, he's probably okay if Fancy gets 3. Not ideal, but okay. And then he's definitely not going to allow Fancy to get 7. I think that's probably his strategy here. And so that's a huge sack. He actually ends up getting a crazy good sack. And that is going to wrap up the first half. All right, second half of action. Again, Mills kicking the ball to the left side of the screen, aka the right side of the screen. And that time, good coverage, good kick coverage there to start. So as far as the first half goes, honestly, a lot of defense was played in the first half. And we'll see what ends up going on here in the second half. See if there's, and you see there's actually a shown play art. Let me take a look at that real quick. So he must be anticipating the flip here. So you see he shifts left, and then he slants. Basically slants almost down. This time sends 6. This is what's nice about 6-1. At any point you can send 6, but here's the crazy thing, Dan. No pressure on that 1, 2, 3. Well, it does look like, I guess maybe he doesn't survive. I don't know. Anyway. Able to hit that running back on that cross route. That's a key route this year. Need to have that running back slide route in your arsenal. So really just kind of using that purple zone to kind of play that bunch side, and you kind of corner out, force everything over the middle of the field. Got 2 purples, going to do a send for show, pretty much cage there, but again, running back slide route. At some point, we have to defend the running back slide. It is the most basic route in any meta offense. Another thing that's interesting is that Fancy is staying in Bunch X Nasty. He's not really going to Y out trio close a lot. And normally he does. So you're staying in Bunch X Nasty a ton. Might be. And there you see that was a clean pressure. Finally got that pressure to come in cleanly. I think it's because he crashed down instead of crashing right. But anyway, gets that linebacker clean pressure. Man up. manned up, man up, and just slightly beat the man coverage. Able to catch it in traffic, but tight window throw there for Fancy, but does get the completion. Couple plays out of bunch X nasty, really good against man coverage. Motion cross post, motion corner under, motion wide corner under. Those plays are very good against man. Here you see a flip again. And pretty much bunch X nasty for Fancy. The thing about Fancy too, and that's a beautiful throw to the fade. That's a slot fade here. Remember, I talked about how hard it is to play man coverage on this tight end slot package. So you see here, gets that tight end slot, and you see, I mean, he just basically gets like this little leverage. Fancy leads the ball perfectly, and the slot fade pops. Just a basic cover zero. That's why I hate cover zero. That's why cover zero is not worth your time. I don't think you should be running cover zero in this game. There's just so many ways to be able to pop it over the top. And thing is, when you make a mistake in zone, it's a 5-yard completion. When you make a mistake in cover zero, it's a touchdown. Something is crazily going on with these kicks, for sure. All right, so we'll see what Fancy's able to do, or what Mills is able to do on his first drive of the second half here. And again, we're going to kick it to the right side. And you see how these blocks are just setting up. He's able to skedaddle out of there. And he's giving the ball basically midfield. Part of playing good defense is playing good special teams and playing good offense, I would say. And just too consistent for that to be a... And he started across the 40 pretty much every time. I mean, this is where you start if you kick the ball out of bounds, pretty much. Anyway, Mill's going to go with that mesh play. Loves this play. And really just kind of creating combos out of this bunch tight end. It's crazy how similar bunch X nasty and bunch tight end ultimately are, and also simultaneously how different they ultimately are as well. We'll see here. So you see, I mean, he comes out mesh pretty much every play. Let's see what he goes to here. Got a little tight end zig, running back swing route, kind of a cool little combo there. Hits that tight end zig. That running back swing route really flattens flat, pulls hard flats well. Does a good job this year at pulling flats. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and 2. And going to be a send 5. Hits that quick flat against man coverage. This is what I talk about with the flat. So Fancy's in basically a send 5 shell. So he's over Storm Brady. He's just going to be a man coverage. And you see how against cover zero, this guy kind of delays getting out on this flat route. And so you can just hit this quickly. And Mills has done it in a couple of big down situations. He's been able to just pop that quick flat and be able to take advantage of the defense with just a simple, quick, easy read that he's able to do with that play mesh. So that's a nice play from Mills. Again, notice that he's flipping a little later in the play as well. Once Fancy's done some adjustments, then he flips it. One little tendency breaker would be to stab short side occasionally. There's a nice combo. This is a nice bunch tight end route combo. Fancy kind of falls asleep at the wheel here. But basically what you're going to get is you're going to get a slot fade, you're going to get a corner, and then you're going to get an in route, and then like a slant or something to that nature. As you see, it looks like a slant and then a clear out streak. But what happens is you have a clear out, you have a high read, a low read, and then really this is kind of your backside combo. You might even get like a super deep in route. That wouldn't be a bad idea. But anyway, he's able to hit that and able to score on that. Fancy just didn't switch stick over to the corner route beat zone. Remember that first play of the game? He switched stick the corner and it cost him. This time he didn't switch stick the corner and it cost him a touchdown on both plays. And just really a simple flood concept for Mills being able to be effective against what a lot of people would consider to be one of the better defensive players and by far and away the best switch stick in the country. So we'll see what Fancy's able to do to counter that on offense here. But that was a big play from Mills. All right, so third quarter, realistically probably about three-ish possessions left. 2 possessions left for Fancy, 1 possession left for Mills, more than likely, and then you're going to really come down to the end of it. There's again another pressure from Mills, and you see, I mean, again, primary thing here, just look at the pressure. You get a shift to the right side. What I would think here is either a crash inside or it's a crash right, but I'm almost positive this is a crash inside, a stunt. You're getting this collapse here. The nice part about it is it's kind of hard to roll away from this pressure because you have this guy kind of holding, so you can't step up in the middle. And then you have this guy coming around. So it's a tight pressure. And really all Fancy's been able to do, though, is he's been able to consistently hit this running back slide route. He has thrown that running back slide route probably almost 10 times this game. It's been a very, very consistent route for attacking this kind of pressure that Mills is basing out of. Notice that Mills, pretty much every single play, has been in the Samuel blitz. It's because it's going to give him the best chance for pressure, but it's also going to give him the best, most consistent alignment that he can have, specifically from those linebackers in the defense. He's able to have a fairly consistent alignment, which is really helpful. And I do believe he is doing a little bit of a show blitz type of look or something on the safeties here. You see, again, there's pressure. Didn't really get the pressure to come in that time. Fancy able to hit that main coverage up top with Cooper. And that's going to bring up a first down and 28. A lot of cover zero has been played this game, really from both sides. Which is funny because as good as switching as Fancy has, you would just think he'd sit in zone coverage all game. Little Texas 2-man stun on the left side. Just not able to cover that route. Let's take a look at that route that Fancy's going to. Let's just take a look here. I'm almost positive it's just a crosser. It's just a crosser. But crossers in this game are probably the most consistent. Like in routes aren't that great against man coverage, but crossers, whether they're short crossers or deep crossers, they both are relatively consistent as far as beating man coverage. Red zone opportunity for Mills. We'll see if he's able to get the stop here. Gonna flip into this, stay in bunch X nasty spacing switch combo with the left side. He's got the curl, he's got the scramble, and he's got the touchdown. And that again, another reason why man coverage, like while it does have some pros, has some major cons, honestly. And you're seeing some of that right there. So Mills able to go down, or Fancy able to go down, score on Mills. Now we got a 35-35 ball game. Really going back and forth here in the second half. It's been a back and forth game all game, though. A lot of defense in the first half, and then the second half's kind of been, well, I've got you figured out now. I'm able to make my reads, make my plays. We'll see what Mills is able to do on this defense. But really, you know, like I said, if we have about 2 possessions, maybe 3 possessions left in the game, it really puts Mills in the driver's seat, in my opinion, looking at a 42-42 or a 45-42 with a field goal. Those are some of the end of game scenarios that you start to kind of put your mind around here. Obviously, you got to try to go get a stop, but realistically, the way these guys have played in the second half, you know, kind of unlikely. So, little bubble screen from Mills, get the clock going, get a nice easy completion to start. Goes a bubble screen again. Gonna start popping the bubble screen here. And probably trying to get this down to the fourth quarter or something. See what Mills. Realistically, if you're Mills here, though, you kind of want to score as fast as possible because what you don't want to do is give the ball. You don't want Fancy, like basically this. We're kind of going down to the wire here, but you know these last 5 minutes, what you don't want to do is you don't want Fancy to have the ball last. Like you want to be able to. Ultimately, if you score 7 here, like you're kind of okay. But in my opinion, you know you don't want to give Fancy too much here. And we'll see those streaks, those slot fades, kind of a tight running back route, able to get out of there with Higgins, spin out of there, spin out of another one, and that is exactly what you want to have happen if you're Mills. You get a busted, broken play, you get a touchdown out of it, and now what happens is Fancy gets the ball, but because of the clock, Fancy's not going to be able to clock this whole fourth quarter out. So now Mills, even if Fancy scores, Mills is in a good position to win the game. That's what I'm saying about that 45-42 because he's able to go up 42-35. Now Fancy goes down and gets 7. That's 42-42. And then Mills coming back to get 3 puts him in that driver's seat to be able to finish this game out well. So we'll see how this all ultimately plays out. But that was a huge play in the game. Just from the pure perspective of the clock management aspect, it really puts Fancy in a tough position. Fancy now kind of in a similar situation to Mills. He would want to score as fast as possible to try to limit what Mills could do. But it's obviously really hard to just score in one play. It's all, there's a lot of risk involved in that. So one of the things that Mills does defensively here is look like he's setting up the 4-3 tight. What's nice about the 4-3 tight is it has a really good send 5 blitz out of it. It's kind of like the nice part about that 4-3 tight, it's very similar to the 3-4 tight. It has a good send 5 that's going to give you a consistent level of pressure up the middle, really regardless of what they do. But he's going to go back into 6-1, flip it into the alignment he wants it to be in, because he did not flip it at the play call menus. Texas stunt, not getting any pressure. There's a crosser again. That's a third. This is what Fancy will also do, by the way. Take a look at the combo here. So he's going to go slant, flat, return, crosser, table. Pretty standard combo, but that crosser is going to be consistent. He actually missed a slant. But anyway, now you see Mills go into zone here. So Mills goes into more of a zone look, a little more of a match look almost, and Fancy able to just hit the tight end. All right, so put your 4s up. We are into the fourth quarter against these two guys, and we'll see what's going to happen here as we go down the stretch of the game. Really Mills kind of staying in the cover 0, but now kind of just adapting a little bit, going to this cover 4, moving the linebacker out. Purpose of moving that linebacker out there is so he can actually go out and defend corner routes and things like that. Gets a nice shit over the middle. But that time, Fancy able to kind of mix it up. It does appear to me that Mills is kind of using that match coverage in a little bit of a unique way, and really just more as of a change up. But you see, kind of walking this guy out, expecting a flip here, and so you'll see Fancy flip in. You see how he's going to walk this guy out, walks this guy out slightly, and you see there's that little sim 4, and not able to get the stop, not able to get the pressure. And we'll see what he does here. I would think he's going to eventually go back to his cover 0. The other thing that's really interesting is he's not really adjusting the coverage that much behind it. It's pretty much cover 0 or cover 4 match. In here, it does appear again like he's going to go with a little bit of a match coverage look, and just falls off the slant. Like right here, I mean, if you look at this real quick here, Mills is also not switch sticking a ton, right? Just goes with a basic sim 4, gets a pressure. I don't know what he's going over here to guard. And, here he just kind of leaves this wide open. Actually switch sticks off, and it just gives him relatively a free slant. It's a great combo to beat match coverage, that smash return with that slant and flat combo. That slant is so hard to guard and match. We'll see here. Again, short side, he's going to flip into the wide side pretty much every single time. Haven't really seen him run a short side play yet. So Mills can kind of set up his defense that way, which here he's going to get a little aggressive, go with a little cover 2 hard, flat on the outside, and gets a nice catch there from Travis Hunter. You see Mills putting his hands in the air, waving him like he just doesn't care. That's what I'm talking about a little bit with the game, right? That's the catching traffic is insane. When we say catching traffic is insane, that's something that we were talking about. Another wild field goal from Fancy, but he's able to put it on the board, and it's going to be 42-42. And now we have kind of a clock management scenario here for Mills. If he's able to manage this clock properly, he should kick a field goal and win the game as time expires. We'll see if he's able to do that. 4 minutes and 6 seconds. He's going to go into his 4-minute offense. Now, Fancy's going to counter that. Notice what Fancy does here. He electively chooses to kick the ball out of bounds. Also want to just point out, by the way, he kicks the ball out of bounds, and the ball is on Mills's 40. That's pretty much where the ball has been every single time in terms of the kick return aspect of this. When you don't have good special teams play, the way the game is anymore, I almost feel like kicking the ball out of bounds, kicking the ball to the back of the end zone, it honestly makes just as much sense. Very rarely are you going to pin somebody in their 15 if they have good kick return with the way kick returns are in this game. You're seeing people consistently get to the 35-40 anyways with the kick return, but the beauty of kicking the ball out of bounds is there's no chance of a return, so you never have that threat of because one of the big things that I think helped Fancy kind of get back in the game was the kick returns. If you remember back to the beginning aspect of the game, Fancy really was helped out by that. So anyway, Mills has to be a little careful here. because what Fancy's going to do is Fancy's, as you see here, I mean, he's right there playing very aggressive. That's a really good dive down. Mills intentionally dives down there. He goes down because it's going to bring up a 2nd down and 1. So what he's able to do is he's going to take all this clock down, and he should run the ball twice to try to pick up that 1st down. Then he can run more clock off, and now we can kind of get into that, trying to take Fancy's time out. So as you see here, here's the clock management aspect of everything that I'm saying. You get down here to 4 seconds. I don't know why Mills is passing the ball in these situations. I feel like this is such a mismanagement because you see there, he throws the ball away. Now it's 3rd and 1. Fancy doesn't have to call a timeout, but the clock is completely stopped. I feel like it's just a really interesting and odd decision. He's going to do it again. He's going to flip it. And he's going to pass the ball. I don't quite understand the purpose of passing the ball in that situation. You have a good RPO in this offense, but he's going to hit that little quick flat, and he should be running clock. Like you got to think he's going to run the ball here to get the ball down to the 2-minute warning. We'll see if he does. And he's not going to again. And you see Fancy is running shaded down cover 0 because what he's trying to do is he's trying to almost, to a degree, let Mills score 7. Because if Mills scores 7, then Fancy gets the ball back with 2 minutes, be able to go down and score. So Fancy's playing extremely aggressive. And then he runs the ball here on 2nd and 10. And then now he puts himself in a 3rd and 14 situation. I just feel like that's just a really interesting way to manage that clock. And I don't quite understand why he does that. Here on this 3rd down situation, he scrambles up, and now you're in a situation because now you're 4th and 12. You didn't win on 1st down, you didn't win on 2nd down, on 3rd down, and then now you're in a 4th and 12 situation where Fancy's able, as you see here, he can just hold on to these timeouts. Doesn't really matter. Let Mills run this clock down, which is what he's going to do here. But Mills is not going to go for. He's going to go for a field goal here. He's not going to get 7. He almost has to kick a field goal here because of the time and all that. Because if he goes for it and he doesn't get it, he pretty much gives Fancy the win. But by kicking 3, now if he holds Fancy to 3, they go into overtime. But I feel like ultimately Mills really mismanaged the clock in that block drive. And wasn't able to get it done. He did not accomplish the objective. And now you give the best player over the last 15, 12 months, you give that best player over the last year 3 timeouts, minute 19. And the way this game plays offensively, not necessarily winning scenarios. We'll see what Mills is able to do defensively here. But this should be a pretty straightforward money drive for Fancy if he's able to put it together. We'll see what he ends up going to here. Quick flat off the rip. Going to get upfield. If you're Fancy there, you'd love to get out of bounds. It just helps you even more, but it's not really that big of a deal. You've got so much time. You've got timeouts. Ultimately, you really only need 3. You want 7. You want to end it here with your offense. You don't want to go, crazy stuff can happen overtime. And then out of nowhere, Mills lurks Fancy. Take a look at what happens here. Cover 0. No pressure from the send 5, by the way. Good pack pickup from Fancy. Mills is using this. He switch sticks off of this guy over here. Now watch. He actually switch sticks back, and then he bites down on that crosser. Remember, Fancy had been throwing this over and over again. Maybe Fancy thought, oh, he switch sticks here. He's going to go to here. So then his eye went back here. I mean, just a crazy, crazy play because this is clearly where the ball should be going, but obviously Fancy did not see this switch. He's able to lurk it. Perfect timing from Mills. And he's able to get a stop. And he's able to put the best Madden player over the last 12 months in an absolute cage when that player knew exactly the coverage that he was doing. Goes to show that it's not always about crazy adjustments. Sometimes it's just about out executing the other player. Fancy ends up making a huge mistake, and Mills is able to get the stop. 45-42, 1 first down, and this ball game is going to be over. We'll see what Mills is able to do here. We'll see. He's probably going to pass the ball because why wouldn't he? Shaded down man from Fancy hits that little swing route, able to stay in bounds. Very fortunate that he's able to stay in bounds there. And shout out to these subs. All right, let's go back here and take a look at what's going on here. All right, and we got a flat little drag route right there, able to hit it, and that is going to be it. He's going to go down. Is he going to score it? with the passion, or he's going to go down. He's going to go down, and that is going to wrap this one up. A lot to learn from this game. Ultimately, it comes down to, defensively, Mills able to get a couple stops early, and then that big stop late really put him over the top. Going to force the quit there from Fancy. So much to take away from this game. I think 6-1 could certainly be a viable defense going forward. If you want to learn how I run it, it's broken down in our school community in depth, showing it not only against the blitzes, against one protection, but showing it against different protections, things like that. 6-1 affords you the ability to be able to get some decent pressure, even if your blitz doesn't come home. And it also gives you that really great run defense, forces them to have to work the ball up and down the field. So all in all, a lot to learn from this game from Mills. Again, I'll leave links to their stuff in the description. But Mills ultimately gets the W over Matt Fancy, who has by far and away had the best calendar year that we've seen in Madden history.